A dwarf, dwarfs or dwarves, is a type of supernatural being in Germanic folklore. Accounts of dwarfs vary significantly throughout history. However, they are commonly, but not exclusively, presented as living in mountains or stones and being skilled craftsmen. In early literary sources, only males are explicitly referred to as dwarfs, although they are described as having sisters and daughters, while both male and female dwarfs feature in later saga literature and folklore. Dwarfs are sometimes described as short. However, scholars have noted that this is neither explicit nor of relevance to their roles in the earliest sources. Dwarfs continue to feature in modern popular culture, such as in the works of J.R.R. Tolkien and Terry Pratchett, where they are often, but not exclusively, presented as distinct from elves. The modern English noun dwarf descends from Old English, dwyr. It has a variety of cognates in other Germanic languages, including Old Norse dgar and Old High German twig. According to Vladimir Thiel, the English noun and its cognates ultimately descend from Proto-Germanic *dwgars. One, a different etymology of dwarf traces it to Proto-Germanic *dweskas, with the R sound being the product of Werner's law. Anatoly Liberman connects the Germanic word with modern English dizzy, suggesting a link between the etymology and their role in inflicting mental diseases on humans, similar to some other supernatural beings in Germanic folklore such as elves too. For forms earlier than the Proto-Germanic reconstruction, the etymology of the word dwarf is highly contested. Scholars have proposed theories about the origins of the being by way of historical linguistics and comparative mythology, including the idea that dwarfs may have originated as nature spirits, as beings associated with death, or as a mixture of concepts. Competing etymologies include a basis in the Indo-European root *-, meaning damage, the Indo-European root *, whence, for example, modern English dream and German trug deception, and scholars have made comparisons with Sanskrit dhr as a type of demonic being. Modern English has two plurals for the word dwarf, dwarfs and dwarves. Dwarfs remains the most commonly employed plural. The minority plural dwarves was recorded as early as 1818. However, it was later popularized by the fiction of philologist and legendarium author J.R.R. Tolkien, originating as a hypercorrective mistake. It was employed by Tolkien for some time before 1917. Regarding his use of this plural, Tolkien wrote in 1937, "I am afraid it is just a piece of private bad grammar, rather shocking in a philologist, but I shall have to go with it." Scholars have noted that the Svartalfar black elves appear to be the same beings as dwarfs, given that both are described in the Prose Edda as the residents of Svartalfheimar 5-6. Another potential synonym is Dokalfa dark elves. However, it is unclear whether Svartalfar and Dokalfa were considered the same at the time of the writing of the Prose Edda. 7. The partial overlap of dwarfs in Eddic sources with elves is supported by the names of dwarfs recorded in the Dwgatel section of Völuspá, which include Alfar elf, Gandalfar wand elf, Vindolf wind elf. Dwgatel further lists only a name of the god Freyr, who was given Ulfamar, the home of the elves, to rule. According to Grimm Nismal. Dwarfs feature in modern tellings of folklore such as Walt Disney's 1937 film based on the folk tale recorded by the brothers Grimm 83-84. Most dwarfs in modern fantasy fiction closely follow those of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, where the dwarves Tolkien's spelling were distinguished from elves. Most modern fantasy has continued this distinction. 85 dwarfs are also present in other fantasy literature such as C.S. Lewis's Narnia stories, Terry Pratchett's Discworld, and the Artemis Fowl novels by Owen Colfer 86, 87, 88. The emergence of fantasy video games has led to differing depictions and interpretations of dwarfs. In the universe of the Elder Scrolls, dwarves or Duma are presented as a race of subterranean elves whose culture was centered around science and engineering that differs from Tolkien's conceptualization, in that they are not particularly short and are extinct. Other games like Dragon Age and Warcraft present an image of dwarfs as stout-bearded mountain dwellers separate from elves. Wiyama retains the Dungeons and Dragons dichotomy between dwarves and dark dwarves, referring to the latter as chaos dwarfs.